Today is February 24th, and this is Michael L. Dublin Sr. Off to another one of his adventures. A few months ago, I was looking for sites in South Carolina that I could drive to in one day and or in a few hours and get back home. And I ran into this. This is the Fryar Topiary Garden in Bishopville, South Carolina. And I've been to Bishopville many times to preach at the Church of Christ, the Bishopville Church of Christ here, but I had not known about this particular garden. And I was amazed to find it as an attraction. And then when I read the story behind it, it's just something in my blood and something in my mind that God would not allow me to leave this earth without making this particular visit. Now, the brief story that they have, I picked up a brochure here, and that is Pearl Fryar there at the bottom. But if you read more of his story, and you can find that on the website, but the brochure says that Pearl Fryar just wanted to win the Yard of the Month, an honor given by the local garden clubs. With the yard outside the city limits, he had to create a remarkable garden to get noticed. After he took a 3-minute topiary lesson at a local nursery, Pearl was off to do the unimaginable, transform his property into a magical living sculptural garden and tourist destination. And it goes on to talk about visitors to the Pearl Fryar Topiary Garden experience a place that is whimsical, educational, and inspiring. Pearl's property contains over 300 individual plants that are complemented by his quote-unquote junk art. Junk art sculptures placed throughout the garden. Pearl is a self-taught artist with unceasing creativity. He has been featured on Martha Stewart Show, Home and Garden Television, and has worked with independent film producers. Pearl has been invited to exhibit at the South Carolina State Museum and has given numerous presentations throughout the United States. The documentary film, A Man Named Pearl, was released in 2006, winning the Audience Choice Award at the Heartland Film Festival. So you will find this treasure 1 mile off of I-20, just 25 miles west of Florence, South Carolina. It gives you the opportunity to donate at pearlfryargarden.org. And I've already walked around it and taken pictures before I attempted to do the video. I just don't know how much room I have on my video, but I'm going to get as much of this in as I can. When we talk in terms of the skills that people have, when you talk in terms of the information that's contained in the human heart, in the human mind, and how given an opportunity, people use their skills, it's just incredible. And to be able to bring this video to you it's a joy beyond words, because for me, this is the gospel. Well, what do you mean? The good news is that Jesus Christ himself came to this earth to redeem people with talents, abilities that simply just didn't know they had it. People who are weary and lonely and distracted, people who are doing drugs and using sex and other things that God gave us for our pleasure as the ultimate pleasure, when in fact they are only as good as you are in your relationship with the living God. and they cannot fulfill in and of themselves what your needs are. So what I see in this is an opportunity to say, you know, there's a whole world out here, and there are ordinary people doing extraordinary things, and you may not be able to do this topiary garden, and you may be able, but my goodness, there's so much more. And whatever your skill is, whatever you have, sometimes it's just hidden by despondency and despair. It's hidden by the failure to move beyond our upbringing when we were children. And it wasn't necessarily that somebody has done anything to us, but they didn't know how to raise us. They didn't know how to give us the hope that's in God's glory. And sometimes they took some of that stuff away because they never had it themselves. And yet here we are in a world that has still so much to offer. It's just really a matter of deciding that whatever it is that God has for you, it may not be a topiary garden, oh my goodness, but he has something that other people will get to know you. This is the reputation that you have. You don't want to have a reputation of being worthless and useless and not trustworthy and all of the other things that can happen to us. But you want to have a reputation, I mean the real reputation, because people can call you those things and they can say things, it's just simply not true. And you have to know that it's not true. But you do have to know that whatever you have become, whoever you are becoming, that life is worth living and you have so much to offer. So again, this is your boy, your pastor, your teacher, your brother, your family member, father, husband, grandfather, great-grandfather, sometimes known as your friend. Sometimes you think I'm your enemy, which I never am, because I'm telling you the truth about things and challenging you, not let you make excuses and not let you get away with stuff that is killing you. So whatever I am and whoever I am, maybe just a person who is passing in the day, when you get this video, you and I may never meet. We may never have a relationship. This is geared toward my brothers and sisters at South Central Church of Christ in Raleigh, North Carolina. But it's also going to be put on YouTube. So whoever you are, whomever you are, whatever you do, whatever life is finding you, there is something untapped into you, even those who are talented. Maybe you can sing and you put so much into leading, singing, or that kind of thing that your creativity gets lost in that one thing. When your creativity that God gave you is a gift, it's a blessing. And he wants you to use it in the most profound ways so that he will be glorified and honored. And sometimes it's a genre of music you stick with. Other times, heck, if you can sing, you can just sing. But use it and teach others. Be patient with people. If you can write, write. Sometimes you won't share with others what you've written. You keep your little diary and you keep it to yourself because you think for some reason that what you have to say is not important. It is important. No one can say what you say the way you say it. It just can't be done. I can't convince you of that, but I'm going to continue to try. So I want to share with you today that this exhibit, this Topiary garden, didn't exist. This man simply wanted to win Garden of the Month and knew that based on his circumstances, not being directly in the city limits, he was going to have to do something to kind of make things better, to even his chances. So he took this very, very short course and look at what has happened. Now, I don't remember everything that I read, but he did have some sicknesses, some illnesses, and the garden kind of went down. But there was a young man that read his story came down and met him, and they partnered. And the young man did a lot of the work to renew what was being done. And out of that partnership, you have this garden still here. So when you make the effort, you can't know what God has in store. You can't know who God has in store. None of us can do what we do forever. We'd like to think that, but our reality is we were given gifts, talents, and abilities, but they will only last as a part of our memory. But there's somebody else who can and will take this on. But sometimes you just have to be able to partner with others. You have to be able to find the right person. And you can't partner with everybody, but there are people that God will put in your life, and you will know it because they're not there to harm you. They're not there to take what you have. They're not there to use you as a platform, but they are there to say, well, what can I do? Who can I be in this whole process that God himself will use me to help you to do what you're doing? What is my role? And a true servant role, somebody who's trustworthy, who has no agenda that's driving them. Everybody has another agenda, but not everybody is driven by the other agenda except to do the things that are for the cause of Christ. And there are some who are not Christians who they just want to do because their character, their inner being simply needs and wants a place in this life. And in this place in life, they just want to serve. They just simply want to serve mankind. Many of them are not bound by our ethnicity, our gender issues, all of the other things that we do as human beings. They are human, but they have a goal. They have a purpose, and that goal and that purpose drives them. And you continue to say you don't have one. It's because you're looking at things like this, and you're thinking that if you can't do this, then you don't have a purpose. There's somebody walking beside you every day of your life. There's somebody in need of what you already know that you're not sharing. There's somebody that needs to be encouraged because you can be a great encourager if you stop trying to live 30 years ago or 40 years ago. When you needed it, somebody didn't give it to you, but you always yearn to do it to others. So, if you like men, like them, but learn how to like women. If you like women, like them, but learn how to like men. In other words, be diverse enough that God himself can use you to go about and to bring about the best in people's lives. And this is something to think about. I drove 2.5 hours to experience this. I'm out here by myself. I haven't seen a soul. And I mean, what do I need? Birds are flying. All of the work that he has done is here. I'm in Bishopville, South Carolina, but I'm also in heaven on earth. This is creation. So when I shared with you, I'm not worried about heaven, I'm not worried about hell, is because today I have the opportunity to live in God's creation. My death will take care of itself. It's my life that I'm trying to live out. And I know that it is rapidly fleeting. And although it is rapidly fleeting, I'm alive. I have something to offer. I can eat. I can cook. I can get angry. I can get frustrated. I can get disappointed. I disappoint others. I have things in me that I express sometimes. I just say, man, leave people alone. Stop doing that. And I do it anyway. But there are things that drive me that's bigger than any particular personal issue I have. And Christ has healed me, and he's healing me. So I'm not going out doing stupid stuff, and I'm not looking for opportunities to hurt or wound or use somebody for my pleasure, physically, emotionally, morally, or spiritually. I'm just recognizing that, man, my life and my gift is in sharing the living gospel, sharing hope, encouraging, and strengthening. And there will be some who will never, ever, maybe, perhaps never get what I'm saying, but maybe somebody else will say it in a way that they get it. It's not up to me to judge it. It's not up to me to condemn. I am quite guilty of wanting people to grow. I'm quite guilty of wanting them to grow at my pace because I've been there, and I want so bad to experience and you to experience. You know, I've had my time in the marching band. I played the trombone. I passed all my math class. I've gone to HBCU, gotten my undergrad. I've gone to Duke and got my master's, and I have children, grandchildren, and I know how to cook spaghetti. I know how to cook beef stew. I know how to cook chicken, and I know what it's like to be seen as an enemy and treated and really bad by people you love. I know what it's like to be the enemy of the people you die for every day. I know what it's like to pour out your heart, mind, and soul for people who would take your heart, mind, and soul. So, but I'm still standing. I'm standing because that's what God does. God is real. It's mysterious to pursue God, but when he wants to reveal himself, he will. And we call God him because Jesus told us to pray our Father. But God is much, much bigger, much different than how we view Father. That just helps us to try to make some sense of God. But God is far greater. God is the universe and beyond. God has so many different names, not just the Jewish names, but God actually is. So anyway, it may sound like I'm rambling, but it's okay. I'm doing the video, so I'll just ramble on and share with you that I'm in the Fryar, F-R-Y-A-R, garden, Topiary garden, created from a desire to just be yard of the month. What desires do you have? And when can you tell Satan he's a liar? And when can you recognize that at times in your life you take advantage of people? You've hurt some people, and you've been hurt by people, but you really can't do anything about that. Be a person that acknowledges your strengths and your weakness. Don't play games with yourself. You're just beyond that now. You know when you're tempted. You know when you want something and you want somebody or some situation that's not good for you. And you know you're lying to yourself when you put yourself in a position for the things to happen that you later claim you didn't want to happen. Let's be real. And life is short. You know, God wants you to be real. No matter what you do, no matter who you are, no matter what you look like, at the end of the day, you're a human being on a journey. And no matter how much you try to impress somebody, you're not going to do it. You're only going to have the few people that you're going to have. And you'll have very few friends. But the people who accept you as a friend is because they accept you as a person. And they will know your strengths and weaknesses. But don't you ever deceive your friends. Once you find out that these people are your friends, don't push them away from you, because once you push away the people who are truly your friends, you're going to be empty. And then your talents and abilities won't come. You'll just be going through the day every day, finding yourself doing things that just don't satisfy you. They don't even satisfy the body anymore. So keep your head and heart in the hands of God. Keep searching. Read your scriptures. If you just learn one scripture a month, every 2 months, you cannot transform and change without making the effort. And making that effort is the divine word of God. Read a book. Go see a movie and You know, I shared with you, some of you, about In My Mother's Garden, a Netflix documentary that I thought was very, very powerful. And it links up with this in many different ways. So uh, stop talking about what you're going to do. God does not respond to what you intend to do. You will never, ever be blessed by God based on your intention. You will be responded to on the basis of that you take. These are the things that you actually do. So whatever it is you're going to do, this is the day you're going to do it. The Pearl Fryar Topiary Garden, February 24th, 2023. This is Michael L. Dublin Sr. in Bishopville, South Carolina. Live.